Chekanori Chekna. Test a 1 a 2. Yeah, that seems to be online there. Yeah, that's also online there, which is good. Good to see. And then what's the last one that we need online? Oh yeah, that one there. So now that I've got that online and that online, just check everywhere's online. Yes, yes, we got some YouTube family joining. Let's head over to Twitch, see what that channel's saying. Oh, 0 viewers, fantastic. Let's just check Facebook, see where my G's are at, if it's working. Seems to be some sort of. Am I lagging? Am I lagging? No, Milo Lays, first comment. Yes, my G on Facebook. Okie dokie. So, without further ado. Yes, all the family are joining. This is good. There's no lag my end. Shout out Phoebe Fillery. Shout out Guts90. And all the guys slowly joining. So, this isn't something that I would usually do, like the sort of sit-down seriousness. And I thought, I don't want to do the sit-down seriousness part. So the aim of this is, I'm in here making beats all the time, right? I'm suffering a bit of right block where I'm not a mastering engineer with 30 years of experience, so I can't necessarily make the sounds that I have in my head. But what I can do is hum the sounds that I have in my head quite well. So the title of today's video is called Making Beats with My Voice Only. Oh no, the stream has dropped off of Facebook. Has it? I don't know. There's loads of ahoys coming through. So let's try it. I'm just going to go ahead like everything's working. The stream's working my end. Great. So when I'm making beats, I always use a reference track. The reference that I'm using today is this Joss Moog track. And the reason I like it and I'm referencing it is because I cannot get enough of the beat. I've been playing it all on my streams recently, so let's have a look at it. Danny Powell's tuned in. Ahoy! All the family, the YouTube family, the Twitter family, the Facebook family. Let's have a listen for this reference track. Hopefully it works. You don't want the whole intro, do you? Bloody hell. Okay, so you get the idea. So it's like a proper naughty one. Oh, wait, you can't hear it. Oh. Bloodison. What's happened? Why am I dancing to myself on Facebook and YouTube and... Should be working. It was working. Okay. Guys, stay online while I have a panic attack, guys. 1 sec. I mean, it was working. So you guys can hear that now. Should be able to hear that now. Oh no. Bloodless and hell, what is going on here? It's funny because you think that you sit here since 1 o'clock doing tests, and you get to a good point, and now it's just sort of not working. Okay. Right, geez. So let's try and work this out together, because I've really botched jobs this one. Audio devices, because it was working. I'm sure. Multi-out selected in OBS. Yeah, it was, Danny. Thanks, brother. Let's try it that way. Oh no, it's not there, you see. Okay, let's try this way. Let's try the G's way. Danny boy. And yeah, everyone being patient. Thank you so much. This is my first time doing this, hence why I'm so flustered. But it really is my first time doing this. I need a multi-out device, don't I? Oh, goodness me. I don't want a Zoom audio device. Can you hear this? It's working. Yes! Yes! Come on! Tell me that's on. Yeah, we there? Yes! Come on! Right, we're working, yeah? Great. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Okay, so you guys can still hear me microphone-wise as well before I waste all my time. Okay, yeah. So essentially, I'm gonna restart this. The title of this video is called "Making Beats Completely with My Voice." The completely part wasn't there in the title, but the point is, I can kind of imagine the sounds that I want to make, but sometimes, like with sound design, it doesn't necessarily sound how I want it to in my head, for example. So I came up with this idea, like, I'm really good at humming the sounds that I'm trying to make, right? So why don't I just sit here with you guys, talk you through my process as I'm doing it, maybe actually like have some fun with this, recording the sounds, maybe, you know, do my own vocal over the top, and really explain sort of how I'm getting the sounds to change, for example, into a kick drum or into a clap, or whatever it is. And I think there's a lot that's going to come from just how I'm processing these sounds. So then maybe when I take it into actually using a track, using, you know, a real synth with these like harmonically rich sounds, I might be better. Shout out Martin Pritchett for sending 150 stars. So yeah, we got this reference track. Okie dokie. So what I was going to do is talk you through recording my drums, and then as I do it, lay it out alongside this Joss Moog track, and hopefully we get something similar. Right. Without further ado, let me just dry my mouth out a bit less. Check everyone's still watching. Yeah, we're all working, we're all rocking and rolling. Okay, so I'm going to listen to this track. I'm going to go with the kick drum first. This is kind of a fundamental noise of dance music. Let's listen to this first drop. So the kick's kind of like a do do. It's kind of like, it sounds a bit hollow. It's not too deep and dark. So that's going to be the first sound I record. Pardon me. I just had a tuna and egg salad. What did you have for lunch, guys? Let me know in the chat. We're going to be doing this for the next couple of hours. Shout outs ahoy. So let's record a kick drum. So I'm just going to do a variety of noises and choose the one that I think is kind of best, while recording it, obviously, not forgetting to do that. Gonna mute this other track as well. Okay, it's probably this one sounded the best. Now you're probably tuning in thinking, what the hell have I just tuned into? And it actually, I reckon a lot of DJs and producers are watching this thinking, it's not going to sound good. Well, partially because people are so used to using synthesizers, but I'm kind of here to maybe show, and if it goes well, start a series based off of just making it exclusively with my voice. So for any kind of people who actually care, I'm going to start talking about the shortcuts and stuff like that. And yeah, a single crisp from Marlon, and oh, a cake. Oh yeah. Oh, we're talking about our lunch. Yes, jeez. Yes, jeez. Call and response. This is fantastic. What are my YouTube family saying? Let's have a look. Yes, yes. Gresham, Leonard, all the hand washers. Okie dokie, guys. I'm gonna stop rambling on. Let's do this. So a kick drum. A kick drum is made up of kind of two parts. It's made up of like the initial knock, like the impact, and then like the body of the kick drum, which often carries like the woo, the kind of sub, the chest. The chesty hitting. So what I'm going to do is just take this sound that I recorded, which looks like this, and I'm going to actually firstly just pitch it down. I'm going to set the warp style to Complex Pro, and I'm going to just listen to it really. Oh no, I don't want to record anything. I'm just going to listen. Okay, so obviously it doesn't sound like a kick drum just yet, but we are going to get there, and it's actually got this kind of like nice sound on the end of it, like a kind of clicky bit. I'm not actually going to remove that. I'm just going to loop that region there. So I'm going to go ahead and create sort of more transients here. So I'm double clicking to create warp markers. And I'm going to take this bit here and slide it nice and good up close. I'm going to click this bit up here and slide it nice and good up close. And if you don't know what I mean, ask your mother. So you just double click the warp marker and slide it nice and good up close. It's got a bit more of a click there now. Let's try this. Proper squashy. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to pitch it down by holding shift and clicking the down arrow, and it's going to go down an octave, which sounds like this. And I know you're probably thinking, that doesn't sound like a kick drum, this is going nowhere. Well, the key is in the processing, which is sort of something I've learned from producing. Now there is the saying, you can't polish a turd. However, I think I've recorded quite a nice kick drum sound with my voice there. So we're just going to go ahead and proceed. And any mastering sound engineers that are going to sort of critique the harmonic content of my project, you can kindly walk out the motherfucking door right now. EQ. So something that I always like to sort of enhance the low end is a drum bus in Ableton. The reason why it's kind of useful is because you can put it on a certain frequency, therefore giving something a key or a tone. Now again, like, this is just completely fresh, and I'm just talking you through what I'm doing here. Maybe let's just shorten it a little bit more. So just one more warp marker, and I'll just bring up that tail. Okay, so it's got that kind of like do kick sound. I'm going to go ahead, right click and crop the sampler. Cool. So we got a pitch down, and you can play with the formants here. I think it sounded good where I was. Like that. Cool. Straight onto the drum bus. I'm just going to turn it on and listen to the difference that the drum bus makes. For those of you wearing headphones, it's a good exercise to listen to the A/B test here. So I've got it on soft with no drive and no other settings. Someone asked, what are them orange and red lines you see in your Ableton screen? These lines, yeah. Oh yeah, guys, any questions, please just let me know in the chat. Obviously I'm trying to juggle 3 platforms here, but any questions that I see, I will go ahead and answer. And yeah, so someone asked, what are the red lines in this thing? This is just, oh, where's my mouse? What are the red lines here? This is just where my Ableton Push 2, which is this thing here, which I'll use in a bit, those are the tracks that it's currently on. Don't worry too much about that. But I'm going to try and be as clear as possible with how I'm processing these sounds. So hopefully you guys can take the sound of your dog shitting on the pavement and convert it into a nice kick drum or clap or whatever sound you want it to, knowing some fundamentals. And weirdly, knowing fundamentals about sound synthesis will allow you to make your voice the right frequency to then sculpt that into, you know, a bass line or a lead. And here we are. I'm bloody rambling. Let's go. So kick drum. I'm gonna turn the drum bus on. I'm gonna turn the drive up until I hear it crunching a bit. Okay, let's turn the actual crunch up until I hear it crunching a bit as well. There we go. Okay, so if this is the EQ, for those who don't know, it's a frequency spectrum, low frequency on the left, high frequency on the right, and this is gonna show the frequencies in the sound that I made, which I'm gonna eventually call kick. So we got like a little bit of a peak here. Let's just say roughly in the center of that is C sharp. So we can go over onto this drum bus here. choose a frequency that matches C sharp down here. I'm then going to turn the boom up until it's way too much. That right there. So, and you see what it's done to this peak here? It's created a real harmonic there. Let me shorten this so you can see that. Yeah, that's going to be like the kind of the key of the kick, because this essentially resembles the body of the kick. So it's very clearly a C sharp now. So we're going to work with that. I'm just going to create a MIDI track. I'm going to click on it and press Command R to rename, call it kick, and I'm going to call it C sharp. And for those of you who don't know what the hash shortcut is on a keyboard, it's Alt 3. Okay, so that's a lingering thing that we don't want, and we're going to go and bring this decay down until it's like nice and punchy. You should feel the body, and then it should instantly decay in volume. Turn the transients up. Maybe bring some of the high end down. And maybe let's just try and pitch it down 12 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, let's stay at 12. Turn this decay down a bit as well. Okay, I'll put it on the hard drum bus. Right, let's try this now. So what I'm going to do is just take, double click my MIDI clip now, and I'm just going to drag this audio straight into there. Oh Christ, no I'm not. No I'm not. I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to freeze the track. I'm then going to right click, and I'm going to flatten the track, and that's going to basically put all the processing directly into the audio track, which is exactly what I want, because now I'm going to use it in MIDI. Drag into this region here. Now I can play it on my bloody keyboard, bloody. There we go. So let's get this programmed on the 4 on the floor. I think that track is 4 on the floor, is it? Let's have a listen. Yeah, it is 4 on the floor, which is good. I don't necessarily actually like making 4 on the floor kicks because it just bores me from the start, but let's do it. No, turn this one off. Okay. Yeah, it's not a kick drum yet, guys. I know it's not a kick drum yet, but it will be a kick drum, okay? And for those of you who just asked, sure, we can have an ahoy. Mom! Ahoy! Okay. Okay, maybe let's match the tempo a bit faster to that track, so probably about 1, 2, 9. Okay. Don't know why that's there. Okay, straight on with the clap. Let's listen to the clap. So it's like, it's kind of like a sneeze clap. That's what we'll call this. So create a new audio track, Command R to rename, call it sneeze clap, and then just record yourself kind of making a sneeze noise like a pug would, and we should be able to make a clap out of it. I'm just going to mute all the other tracks, turn my metronome on. Okay, so this last one again, this is my favorite here. If anyone's getting impatient, you can leave if you feel free, if you've got other things to do. It's going to take some time, but I'm going to sort of talk you through my process and hopefully make a track that sounds decent with only my voice. So again, same thing with the transients here, guys. Let's zoom right in using the plus arrow. Just want to get that hitting nicely on the kind of the 1. Delete this warp marker using the backspace on my keyboard. Hi from Brazil. Yeah, guys, let me know in the comments where you're tuned in from. I'm tuned in from sunny Caterham. That's why I've had to shut the blinds. And I was actually setting up this stream for about 2 hours before this. And it's funny because you think you do as many test runs as possible, but when it comes to it, you just fall flat on your face in front of your whole fan base. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create some warp markers here and kind of squash this front region. This is going to, again, be that transient like we had in the kick drum. It's going to be that hit. And it's Not essential, it doesn't need to be super hard, but it's just going to add some presence. There you go. And then I'm going to actually add a second layer to that and record it in. And it's going to be more of the actual clap, the kind of knock of the snare. The first one was like the zzz, like the fizz, and this is going to be like the kind of noise. Kind of like that. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try this now. Oh, no, wait, sorry, I got to turn that off. Turn this one on. No, why is that? Why is that on? Sorry, jeez. This one again. It's always my third one, which is actually the best sounding one, isn't it? I can highlight to you. Thank you very much. Crop sample again. And what I'm then gonna do, Command Shift T creates a new MIDI track. I'm gonna create an instrument rack for my snare. And I'll tell you why when I can spell instrument. Insta. I'm going to add an instrument rack, to an empty MIDI track. Because now this allows you to layer the samples. Kind of like a synth, where you can sort of like layer oscillators. And now we're kind of just going to layer 2 clap noises that I just recorded to make like a full sounding snare. Let's just listen to this clap. Sorry, pardon me, snare. Okay, yeah, great. So I'm just going to drag that straight into this, whatever you call that, box, I guess that's called. And I'm just going to now do the exact same thing that I did with that snare sound with this sound. So drag it right to the front. And first, you've got to listen to it because then you're going to know, right, maybe it needs more of this. Maybe it needs less of that. Maybe it needs less of this. Instead of just saying, it instantly needs compressing because it's a snare. Why don't you listen to it, you bastard? So listen. Great. So I really like that straight away. And it's got that fizz afterwards, which is kind of characteristic of a snare drum. Rod Jones, are you free weekend 9th of July? No, but message my guy and he might sort it out. Okie dokie. I don't know why my highlight isn't. Right, we're going to loop that with Command L. We're going to right click and go crop sample. Okay, so we've got that kind of like fizzy layer for the snare, which is already in the instrument rack. And now I'm going to take the other layer and put it in the instrument rack. Who would have guessed? So now what I've got, my G's, is 2 sounds that I recorded independently, stacked on top of each other, and hopefully it's going to sound something like a snare. Would you look at that? It doesn't. So we're going to keep working with it. Firstly, let's just solo the first one. Okay, what we want is kind of more of a quick decay. So I'm going to just knock the sustain all the way off there. It's kind of like a snare. Okay, let's try pitching it down. Maybe 7. Okay, 5. Yes, Matt. Yes, Sam Rawlins. Excited for Night Tales. You done though. Okay, that kind of works there. Now let's layer the other sound on top of it and see how that sounds. Okay, right, I can tell straight away that's a cough, so maybe let's just take off some of the high end of it, the high frequencies. And pitch it down a couple, 1, 2. Sounds like you're in a doctor's surgery waiting room. Love that joke. Quality. Okay, I've taken the sustain off again. I'm just going to add a bit of an attack to allow the transient. When I say transient, I mean the knocking sound of the other layer. Yeah, I mean that's a good start. I'm going to record it in, and then go from there. Sorry, there's a slight lag. I didn't realize there'd be a lag, so it's really difficult to play that in. Okay. I know what you're thinking. Yes, Zach, that's starting to sound like a deep, squelchy row minimal. Okay, let's call this clap-a-nori. Clap-a-nori. We'll call this kick. Let's go ahead and delete those because they're actually distracting me quite substantially. And let's look at the envelopes again because something's ringing out a bit too long. That's knocking nicely. Okay, great. So you're thinking, Zach, that doesn't sound so much like a clap or a snare right now. Don't worry, my G's, because it will. Let's go ahead and not use a drum bus. What we're going to want to do, actually, yeah, let's add a drum bus. The reason I like a drum bus is because it's like a all-in-one saturator. Just does it all, and you don't have to necessarily add too much drive to it. You can just experiment with the soft, mediums, and the hards, and ask your mother which mode she prefers. Great, starting to sound shit. So let's get an EQ on it and cut some of that low frequency out of it. The case is often when you record stuff with your voice, especially if you're a boy, there's some low frequencies in there which we don't want. We don't want those low frequencies. The reason we don't want them is because they'll interfere with our kick drum and our bass line, which we need to keep untouched so that it sounds nice and full and chunky. Okay, okie dokie. So let's try see if we can add any more boom to this without it sounding shizen. Let's do warm up lows. Okay, so this is a saturator preset. Really just makes it sound better always. And of course lower the volume correspondingly, and you can change the frequency, so maybe great, it's starting to sound better. Get a nice EQ on that. No, that's my on this. We got EQ our clap-a-nori. Shout out Dave Poison, my G. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Nice time to create a hi-hat. I like to sort of have a variety of different sounding hi-hats and different textured hi-hats when I make music. And I kind of always like to start with kind of like a ticky-ticky hi-hat, because I find if you kind of do like the kick, the clap, and the open hat, what happens is, for at least in my case, it becomes harder to fit other sounds in if you've got that big open hat going. So what I'm looking for now that I'm going to record is like a ticky hi-hat, kind of one that's like. My dry mouth doesn't. Okay. Let's record this in. And again, I'm just going to let it run. Record loads of loads of them, and then I'm going to stop basically after I do the one that I think sounds the best. There was one there. Oh, and obviously I'm going to mute it in the future when I record, because I'm aware that there's a lag, and it's because it has to go through one thing and then another thing and then come back to me, and then the postman has it for a bit and then it comes back in here and then it goes online, so there's a bit of a lag. But nonetheless, the theory is the same. Let's find the one which actually kind of represents a hi-hat. Maybe this guy here, actually. It's always like one of the last ones for some reason. Oh, is that an app called Quantizer that works? Does the same thing. Right click to crop that sample. Then we're going to create a warp marker at the start of the sample. Delete this warp marker using the backspace arrow and just sliding it nice up and tight over here. Now again, we can work with this. We really can work with it. I'm going to zoom in using the plus arrow. Double click to create another warp marker. Delete this other one and just bring it right nice up and tight there. Okay. Then what you can do is again create some transients, not create the transients, the actual vibrations in the sound were already there. I'm just squashing them together to give it that sort of hit. Doesn't have to be too much. Let's listen to it. Okay. I know what you're thinking. That don't sound like a hat, Zach. Doesn't sound like Chris Dussey's hi-hats. But it's fine because I'm going to use my voice and... Oh, that already sounds fucking weird and nice. Okay. What you can do is, with the mode set on transients... Yeah, Radius Artist for bookings. Transients, put it on this forward-facing mode and just roll it off while it's playing, obviously, so you can hear what it's doing. I'm going to mute these other sounds so you can hear it. So that's really kind of getting to that ticky hi-hat that I was talking about. The ticky one that I was talking about, I ain't chalking. Huh? Okay, so I think maybe let's pitch it down. That's good. That's good. Without further ado, drag your hi-hat into your MIDI clip. There we go. Now it's playable. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now we can, like, nothing's set in stone. Any of these sounds we can change again. Let's just go with it. Right, I'm going to call this Ticky Hat. It's got a tick! What's happened to it? What's happened to my Ticky Hat? Come on, mate. Ticky? Oh, there she is. I named the wrong... Command R to rename. Ticky Hat. Yeah, the software's called Ableton. So for anyone watching, I'm actually going to turn this into a series where either I do it with my voice or I do it with real life instruments in front of this mic, or I might just make originals like using synthesizers, but I think that's way less interesting for the viewer anyway. So guys, everyone watching this, right? Ableton has a 90-day free trial. You have to exchange your email address and you get the software for free for 90 days. So anyone who either has thought about making music before, has never thought about making music before, or currently makes music on a different program, I'd recommend to try Ableton because it's free. It's a great program. I've tried a couple of other programs, and this is my favorite. It just makes sense to me, and it's just really easy getting stuff like moving. Cubase is really, really good. You know, they all have their kind of perks, but ultimately it's about knowing the inside and outside of the program and your own plugins. So 90-day free trial, try it. Where's my Ticky Hat? There we are. Okay, right guys, I'm going to go ahead and record something in. Oh no, I'm not going to be able to because of the Laganori. Right, no worries. I don't have to. Not everyone has a keyboard anyway, so we're going to go and put this on 16ths, my G. I'm going to turn it up to 2. This just means it's 2 bars. Turn that ticky guy off because he's getting on my nerves. Okay. So C3 is my my hi-hat. You can hear me playing it. If I play it an octave higher in C4, doesn't sound the same, but it actually might work. So I kind of want it to go just to give it a bit of shuffle. So it goes Let's try that. We want it here. No. Okay. Let's try looping this Reggiano over here. And it will make sense once I now unmute the other 2 tracks. Okay. Okay, yeah, I mean, I could mess around with that. Okay, let's try pitching it up an octave. So I'm going to use Command A to highlight all, holding the Shift key and the up arrow. And that's going to pitch it up an octave. Let's try maybe, I don't know, halfway. Okay. So, you're listening to it now going, right, it sounds like a cough, it sounds like him doing a tick, and it doesn't sound much like a kick drum. But what you have to bear in mind is in the context of the whole track as well. So the the elements are never going to be muted, like you're never going to hear them by themselves like this. So often if you can have a sound that sounds like it but is actually different from the usual sound, like for example the classic 909 hi-hat, then it's really effective, I think. So what I'm going to do is record another ting in. Now this hi-hat's going to be more of like a shuffle hat, like a... In fact, let's just do that straight off the bat. Yeah, let's do that straight off the bat. Let's listen to this. Yeah, that works. Got to be something there, surely. Oh, I'm lightheaded. Oh, I'm spinning. Let's try this. Sometimes you can just visually see from the region. So actually what I'm doing here is kind of like looking visually, kind of which one is the most even. Like you've got this bit here and then this bit here. So I probably wouldn't choose that in terms of a looper. So again, I highlighted the region I wanted. Command L to loop that region. Gonna right click. Gonna go crop sample. So this is what we're working with. Okie dokes. Gonna go ahead and delete that first warp marker and bring it to the front because no doubt it was out of time when I recorded it for you guys, but there's not a lot I can do about that, at least right now. Gonna unmute everything else and just fucking listen to it. Jeez. Now I know what you're thinking. This is terrible right now, and yes, it is, but this isn't the point. This isn't the point because it's gonna get better. Okay, we're getting there. There's something that I need to change. It's this bit. Okay. Okay. So again, you're probably all watching me going, I can hear that that's breaths. Right, guys, never underestimate the power of the different warping programs on Ableton. So tones, texture, this is what it's kind of going to preserve, I believe. So if you put it on beats and roll it off, it will keep the on the floor beats, but sorry, the 4 on the 4 beats, like the kick drum and the open hat. But if you change the mode, you can preserve or change and get all kinds of artifacts. So what I'm going to do is solo it so you can really hear what it's doing. I'm going to go through all the different modes and just see which one is coolest. I don't like that sort of vibe. Okay, let's pitch it up. Okay, textures. All right, let's try that. Okay, straight away I'm just looking at this this open hat and it's like way too ticky. So what you can do is just, with it still in the simpler, no need to get another EQ. It's just roll off some of that high end so it's not so like bloody piercing. Let's take the metronome off. Okay, we're getting there. What I'm going to show you now is something which you've probably seen 1,000 times, so I'm not going to spend too long on it. But for those of you who don't know what I'm about to show you, this is called sidechain compression, and basically what it's going to do, it's going to lower itself in volume whenever the kick drum is playing, so they don't kind of so it doesn't go too loud, basically. So I've clicked the sidechain, I've selected the kick. So what that's actually doing is, you can hear it going up and down. And the thing that's triggering that is the kick drum. And what I hate is this hi-hat. It's better here. Right. Where is it? Let's try like this. This might work better. Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. So we've got this like shuffly weird noise in the background. Might turn that hat down as well. Okay. And again, like, yes, it sounds like it's maybe my voice right now, but what I'm hoping that you're going to get from this is how I'm actually processing the sounds to make them sound more like the actual sounds. Okay, and what I'm just going to try, one last thing, is highlighting it all using Command A and then pressing Command U. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But what this is going to do is put it more on the grid, so it sounds like it's on time. And yeah, I live in London, guys. Just a quick thing as an intermission. Let me know in the comments if you'd come walking with me. For the last 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks, I've been walking twice a day, 5 plus kilometers per walk. And I thought I might start like just walking with people. Do you know what I mean? Like, people sometimes like just interaction. And I thought maybe we could get some fans on, go for a walk around London, go for a walk around Bournemouth, go for a walk around Seychelles. Great. So we got a kick, hat and clap, basically, or kick, hat and snare with a ticky ticky noise, which can come in and out, and it goes to this. Actually, I just prefer that noise completely. So what I'm going to do is just do exactly what I said I don't like doing, and delete all of those. Where's the arm of the track? Let's just record it on the offbeat, and not even record it. Just put it in like this. Yeah, that sounds better, because that shuffly sound is going to be quite hard to match the swing and stuff like that. Hey, Brad Curry. Yeah, mate, message any of the hand washers and they'll send it to you. I just put it on the Patreon group chat. For anyone who's interested in track listings or one-to-one tuition, head over to my Patreon. There's loads of tiers available for you. Great. Let's do a listen to this track now and just see where we're at with it. So that first thing that I can hear, pardon me, is that like thum 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 in the start, thum 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 at the start of the track. Huh huh huh. Th th th. Th th th. I'm gonna just record that straight away. Th 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 th. Now what's going to be important about this is that it's in the key of the track when I do it. I'm not gonna go too much into kind of like all of the fundamentals of music theory and stuff like that. But essentially, if I play a note or put a note in the track that isn't in the same scale of the track or what I'm trying to make, then it could stick out. Not always. It's not a rule of thumb. What I'm going to do is bring over this. Oh, bloody hell! Please come onto the second window. Don't make me force you over there. Just come on. Why won't it go over there? Okay. Well, anyway, guys, I've got I've got this piano collection, which I'm trying to bring onto the screen, but it won't work. There you go. So you can hear a piano now. So I'm just going to find a C sharp on my keyboard, which is there. I'm going to turn the octaves down so it's lower. Maybe let's try. Okay, let's record it in. Wait. One of those is gonna work. It has to. Christ. Wait. Wait. I bet you're all going, what am I watching? Let me do this again. No. 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 Let's try that last one, because I think sometimes if you breathe too much on the microphone, it gives it that kind of like shit sounding voice noise, which we don't want. So for anyone watching this chat right now, there's another, and I'll just address this for the last time. There's another page. It looks very much like my page, but in fact, it's not even a Facebook page. It's a Facebook profile from someone who's basically in the chat right now. What they're trying to do is scam people for money. Basically pretending that I'm giving away money in a competition and trying to get people's credit card details over the internet. Now, if you see a fake account, a fake SUAT account at any point in the future, please do two things. Report it and send me a screenshot of what they send to you. The problem with this guy is we've had the account deleted multiple times by our guys at Facebook, but he persists and he persists, and he's back once again like the renegade master. So do what you can, guys, and get rid of the bastard. Okay. Great. That's what we're looking for. So bring that up to there. So what I did there is I just made it one bar. Made it one bar by putting this one in here. Now it's going to loop over and over, kind of how it does in the original track. Let's just listen to it before we process it at all. I know what you're thinking, guys, but just be patient with me. Okay, so in fact, this is why I didn't want to go too much into the music theory of it, but let me go ahead and assume that that's perfectly in key. I'm gonna rename the audio track using Command R, and I'm gonna call it and I'm just gonna drag it over again. Command R to rename because that's really what that noise sounds like. And this is back to my point. I can kind of recreate the sound in my head, but I can't necessarily recreate it with the synthesizer. So here I am with my voice. Great. So for this noise, I'm going to delete that piano. For this noise, what I'm going to do is I want to give it kind of like that, a tom drum sound, basically. So a really great thing to do that with, and this is like a ridiculous plugin that just comes stock with Ableton. It's got so many features, is a corpus. What a corpus does is you're going to hear it straight away. It's going to add tones which you never even bloody knew were there. And it's going to show you them like you care. Ready? And now? I know you're thinking, that doesn't sound anything like the percussion in the track. But wait, Tim. Tune. I'm going to roll the tune right down. I'm going to find a nice C sharpman. C sharpman, because that is the key of our track. I'm going to play it. This is good. I'm going to bring the decay right down. The decay is way too in your face right now. And when I say decay, for those of you who are unexperienced with this terminology, decay just means how long does the sound stay on for? How long does this? Oh my God, Eduardo said that he got scammed by the the fake SUAT and even invited him to Mexico. Okay, my G's. This is why it's so difficult. I don't know why it's so difficult to get a blue tick, because things like this happen. Please make sure when interacting with my page that it is my page. I will never ask you to buy, enter any details into anything. It should always be SUATism, which is the username, not the Facebook profile name. So, SUATism everywhere. I'm going to carry on making beats. Thank you, Dave, and all the guys who are reporting. So I'm going to bring the decay down. Where was I? Okay, starting to sound cool. Is there a C sharp one lower? Yes. There you go. Okay, so let me just solo this so we can hear what this dry wet knob does. For those of you who don't know, wet signal basically means 100% of the signal is being sent to the plugin or the effect or the noise maker. Dry is how much signal is sent through unaffected by the plugin. So what I'm going to do is start with it dry and slowly increase the wet until it's sounding kind of how I want it to. Great. Now I'm getting some of that raspiness from my voice there, and that's what I don't want, because that's what's making it sound not like a tom drum. So what I can do is click this node at the end here, click the drop down box, and create a low pass filter. Low pass filter just means the low frequencies can pass. Roll it down. Roll it down. Shout out the 220 man that actually want to be here, by the way. This obviously isn't for everyone. This isn't my typical SUAT content, but I just thought I'm going to give it a go because I'm in here every day. And bear in mind, I'm using my voice right now, so hopefully that will make the ones where I'm not using just my voice even better. But please bear with, guys, and hopefully the ones who, should be here are here. Let's keep going with it. I've put an EQ before that corpus effect to take out that raspiness of my voice. Let's listen. And I'm going to take the low end out of that as well. Roll it off to about here. Okay, let's put the wet up a bit. Bring the decay down a bit, maybe. Okay, sounding decent. We're getting there. Again, it's not fully there yet, so let's keep working with it. Let's put the filter on. Let's see if this makes any difference. I actually don't like the filter on at all. Let's turn the width right off, because currently this is what the width does. For those of you who don't know this, again, this is the first session, so I'm just going to kind of explain stuff that I haven't talked about before. But basically, you wear headphones, right? You wear two headphones, and you wear two headphones because one's in the left ear and one is in the right ear. When a sound enters the left ear at a different time to the right ear, we perceive it as sounding very wide. If you were to close your eyes, you'd say, "It's about there, mate." Whereas if the sounds happen in our left and right ear at the exact same time, then we'd say, "It's right in front of us. It's dead on the middle," because that's how it works. That's if you hear a car coming down the road, you hear it in your right ear before you hear it in your left ear, and that's how you know that it's coming from the right. So this width knob, I'm going to turn it right off because it was making it really spread out, and I don't like the spread out sound. Take the top off a bit again. It's getting there. Okay, let's try a different medium. Let's try the membrane. That can be worked with, I think. Maybe let's try. Maybe take this lowest frequency. There you go. Oh no. Okay, let's go with it. It sounds like a her at the moment, but hopefully in the mix, in the context of everything else, it won't. Okay, back to the reference track. Next thing I can hear is that clav going. Beep, 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 beep. You want to listen to it again? Here it is. And actually, guys, what I've not done is paid any attention to processing this her very much. I'm going to stick a comp pressor on it. What that's going to do is make the quiet parts of the sound louder and the loud parts of the sound quieter. I'm then going to add what's called a saturator, and no, in fact, I'm going to add what's called an overdrive, and this should glue the two sounds together, the corpus and the sound that I'm making with my throat. Cue the mum joke. Just lowering the EQ now, and it should start to really come into place. And then again, just turn that dry wet right down until you can't even barely hear it. Great. I'm just gonna put another. I know I put a drum bus on this, but it's just not deep enough right now. There you go. Let's get that C. Let's get that low frequency again. Put the boom through. That's sounding much better. Lovely. Okay, so we're moving slowly, but we are getting there. Let me just try seeing if pardon me. Okay, so my G's. So far, I don't know how long into this we are. 1 hour. Slow start. But nonetheless, it's developing. And that's kind of what we want, to develop and grow. I prefer it there, to be honest with you. And the last thing we're going to need is an EQ after all of this. Because what a lot of these are... I'll explain once I've clicked that. So we had the EQ going in first, and that was to take the low end out of my voice and the raspiness that made it sound like a voice. We added this corpus, which gave it that gong noise. We put a compressor on it, and that compressor's made the quiet sounds louder and the louder sounds quieter. Then we put an overdrive on top of all of that, so there are new frequencies there. And as you'll be able to see, there's going to be frequencies here and here when you look at this one. So get rid of them! And the last thing I'm going to do is show you one of my sends. And I actually don't even like these reverbs. This is just my old template project, and I always change them. I'm going to go ahead and put a Valhalla vintage verb on my send channel. This send channel is for like the weird noises that you kind of want to ring out that might only be going for a couple or hitting once, for example. So what you can do, let's put the mode on a dirty plate, which you guys are probably sitting around a couple of those now. Let's go chambers, small chamber 2. Let's go for this one. And let's give it a bit of a vintage color. Come on. Gonna put the decay up. So that's sitting on this channel now, and currently that's making no noise. As I increase the send to that channel, it should start to make some noise. And then the last thing we're going to want to do on that reverb, you don't have to do it in fact, let me show it so you guys can see graphically what I'm doing. Again, low frequencies, we don't want them. Too high frequencies, we don't want them. So cut rid of them. Cut them back. Okay, and then again, a reverb channel for our drums. This is going to make them sound like they're playing in the same room. When you're in a room, you've got a wall over there, you've got a wall over here, and two there, and the sound reflects back at you. And that's basically what reverb is trying to emulate, is that sound, that reflection. So I got a nice drum room type fat on here with a low time on it, and again I'm just going to send the hi-hat to it. Great. I'm happy with how this is sounding at this stage. Next thing, my G's, is that clav noise, that ga, and I'll just solo it so you can hear. Let's just do it. Come on. No one else is. Oh, what happened there, Bloodison? There we go. Ugh. One of these is going to work, my G's. And this is kind of my point of this video. It's like, it really doesn't sometimes matter what you have at your disposal. It's more about sort of like how you use it. Obviously there's the saying, you can't polish a turd, but there's also an element of the more creative you get, the more you'll sort of go into realms of sounds that haven't been heard before. At least I hope. So well, okay, so let's just take these first two. Now they're very, very different in sound there, right? So what I'm going to do is highlight that oh, no, I'm not, I can't do that. I can't. Let's just take one of them then. Let's take the first one. She's the biggest. Highlight that region. I'm going to press Command L. Great. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go crop sampler. No, that's not what I pressed. Crop sample. Okay, close that. Hopefully this is all still working for you guys. It wasn't working for hours, and then I somehow got it working, and then it stopped working as soon as I went live. Okay, so that doesn't sound like a thing. Okay, and again, guys, this is that transient thing that I was explaining earlier. We want to create some sort of like clicking, popping sound there. So I'm going to create some warp markers and literally just squash the front end of this thing that I've just recorded, again, purely with my voice. See, it's got that little pop there at the front now, that pop, 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 pop. So you could probably go a couple more with that. Either squash more of it or do more squashing. So maybe there, maybe there, maybe there. That looks a bit more even. And bring that guy right down. Ah! Oh no. And last but not least, thank you to everyone that's been sending stars. I've seen them sort of trickling in, by the way. I really, really appreciate it, guys. They go a massively long way, Every little helps on every video. And thank you to all of those contributing. Okay. Right, I'm happy with that. Let's call this clav. I pressed Command-Shift-T to create a new MIDI track. Command-R to rename. And I'm just going to call it clav. Or clave. double click, and drag the clave on. So now I can play the clave on my Keza board, my keyboard. That's too low. Okay. Now, squashing is a technical term. Yeah. Okay, so there's some sort of noise there, right? Now we've got our envelope controls here. I mean, there's a couple of things we can do here. But if we really wanted to, we could go here. There's more of a knock there straight away. Hear that? I'm not going to do that way because I showed you guys the transient squash thing. But I'm just going to actually bring it up like that. It's got a bit of a knock to it. I'm going to take the sustain right off because I want it more of a... Don't really want it to ring out. I just want it to be like... Let's try up. No. Not the right pitch, I know. Okay, let's try it from halfway and just put we'll just put the attack up a tiny bit because it might make a pop otherwise. That's more clavey. There we go. Let's try up one. Put the warp, enable the warp, put it to complex or complex pro. There you go. That's starting to sound a bit more like it. And another thing we can do is head on to pitch here. We've got amplitude envelope, pitchy McGee. Put it up a couple of semitones. And you hear it's got that weird ew, pew. But then what we can do is bring the decay of that envelope up a bit so it's just on that first hit. Let's try down one. Let's try that. There we go. Let's try it. That noise, actually, that her sounds a bit like a Marco Strauss noise. Shout out my G tuned in. And that was all out of time, I know, G's. It's because I'm wearing... I explained the head thing. How there's a delay. Greg says there's no sound here, apparently. Okay, let's go with it from that. So, you can get sometimes, right, it's tempting to just like record the variation in first try. And what I mean by that is creating a variation to this pattern. But there's a really, really easy way that you can do it, which my good friend Josh Baker sort of like highlighted. And it's super, super easy. So, let's make sure they're all on the grid. What I'm going to do is highlight this whole section by clicking the loop brace up here. And I'm going to press Command D, and that's just going to duplicate it. Now, this is identical to this. But if we want to make it so this is 1 and this is 2, or this is A and this is B, we've got to add some sort of variation to it. And what that's going to do is make the track sound less boring. So I'm just going to take this second note. Should be, yeah, second note. I'm going to move it back 2 and just see how it sounds. Okay. What I did there was an actual error because I want it to be repeating over that region. So I deleted those last notes and then I've duplicated that whole region again because I wanted to go du-du-du-du, and then wait, du-du-du-du, and wait. Okay, we're getting there. Where's that decay little boy? There it is. And we can send that clave to our drum kit, you know. And this noise is kind of irritating me. Yeah, that's working now. Shout out my YouTube family, shout out my Twitch family. Guys, if you're watching this on any of the three platforms that I'm streaming it to, I would massively, massively appreciate you taking 10 seconds to go over to twitch.tv/SUATism and just drop me a follow and click the bell button, because I'm really trying to build my Twitch profile this year. Yeah, I'm really trying to build it. You know, my main one's Facebook, but it would be great to get some of you guys onto Twitch and see if you like it. And sometimes I'll be doing exclusive content over there. Sometimes I'll be doing exclusive content over here. Let's listen to our track. Great, sounding decent. I'm going to go ahead and move this second note on the second repetition back, and let's see what effect that has. No. Let's try, pardon me. Sorry for burping, guys and girls. Yeah, I like that there. Kind of brings it nicely back round to the next section. And yeah, so in terms of adding that variation, what we could then go and do again is duplicate this whole region and then change or add or delete another note over this section. So it would be sort of section 1, section 2, and that whole thing is one section. And then this would be a second section, but it's slightly different. And it's that sort of those differences that make the track sound not very or less boring. So let's try it here. Yes, Koozie, my G. Yeah, nice. That keeps the energy, to be fair. And again, guys, what we could really do is, this is such a versatile plugin, this Corpus thing. I'm just going to go ahead and drag it on the top. I'm going to tune it to a C sharp, because that's what the key of my track is. Now, not everything has to be in a C sharp. It's just a good place to start. It's a good reference point, if you will. Let's try going up another octave. So to C sharp 5. There you go. A beam, I guess, is the most appropriate. Maybe a pipe might work. No, it's got to be a beam, doesn't it? There you go. Now, the decay is too much, in my opinion, so bring that right down. And sometimes you can just bring the material down, and what that does is, ahoy, shout out Chris Lafferty, Mayho, Patrick, all the star senders, guys. I seriously appreciate it. Yeah, wicked stuff, really appreciate it. So I'm going to bring the decay down again. Nice. Okay, geez. I had an idea just while I was listening to that clave there. So this sound, right? I could sit here for hours and hours tweaking all the warp settings. But what I just kind of want to do is go away from that and give it something else. You can sit here for hours tweaking, and often if it doesn't work, just like often it will just be not working, is what I was going to say. Sorry. So what I'm going to do is add a reverb to this whole thing, and this is different to a send reverb, but nonetheless, I'm going to add a reverb to the whole thing and just make it really airy. And it should just sit in the background a bit more now. And again, I'm going to bring the stereo down because you can really hear it wide. And after all of that, now I'm going to put the compressor. So it's going to make the sound, then it's going to be ducked or decreased in volume when the kick comes. Bit too wet for me, so bring it down a bit. Great. To me, you know, it's sounding like the start of a track. So let's listen to this reference again. Something's happened there. So the clap is going, and then it's going. So there's like a second, almost like delayed snare. Just listen for it once more. And it's sort of calling and responding to itself. So let's go ahead and just make that sound with our voice. So create a new audio track. Let me listen to it once more. It's like that kind of. That last one is this guy. Oh, I'm gonna have a sore throat when I wake up, aren't I? Yes, indeedy. Okay. Create another watermarker. I'm just going to bring it right up close and delete that old watermarker because he's right in my way. Oh, God. Sorry if that was loud for you guys. Okay. So instead of doing the transient technique, which I kind of showed you guys earlier, I'm still going to do the transient technique. But in this section here, let's just create a couple of watermarkers like this. Zoom right in now and see the resolution has changed. And I'm just going to like squash it a wee bit. And that's going to, again, create that sort of like impact. And the reason I've done it in this section is because there's nothing to squash here. No matter how much I squash it, it will still be quiet relative to this part. So I've taken it from the body. Great. And now some of you are thinking, has he got X and XX playing in the background? And the answer to that is, no, I don't. It's just my voice breathing. On your snare, try put Ableton's vocoder on it. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Tip from Marco. So let's call this cough snare. Drag it over because we know how to do that now. We can drag. And I'm just going to move it up to this section here, which was about where I was doing that sort of squashing. So we're getting there, right? Right, sorry, getting carried away there. We want the ringing sound, so we want it to go, right? So I'm going to put it on this one-shot mode. Add a bit on the fade, because sometimes otherwise it can pop. We want it to ring out. So we want, if I took and shortened the sustain, what that basically does is it takes it up to here, and then it sort of slopes it down. But I don't want that. What I want is the same sort of, but just it to be a bit quieter. So you can just add a fade there. And you see that fade's coming across. Let's try and just bring it up a bit more. That's a bit better. Okay. So it's every other clap. I'm just going to record it in. Oh, I'll just draw it in because there's no point in me showing you guys that because you know how to do that, don't you? Some of you might not, actually. Maybe I should just show them how to do it. No, because it's all laggy. And so, mute this. Something's happened there. But you guys can see where we're going with this. Like, it's actually starting to sound... Okay. So, again, I've got that sort of... It sounds a lot like my voice. So, let's try warping it and making it not sound like my voice anymore. And you might be thinking, well, that's counterintuitive. Why are you using your voice and then making it sound not like your voice? It's because I can't clap with my throat, madam. and there's a lot to be learned from actually how you can make a sound like a different sound. And that's what I'm trying to teach. I'm not trying to teach it. I'm learning while teaching. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know why I'm here. But you guys are hopefully getting something from it. And I'm getting, you know, yeah, something from it too. It's just all done with my voice. I'm getting a sore throat and a cold, basically. Okie dokie. Let's go and put an EQ on it, and as Marco said, a lovely vocoder, and that's going to add some bands of noise, basically. And no, we don't want any JJPs. Vocoder, there you go. I'm just going to turn the vocoder off for now. Yeah, shout out Ryan Smith. Shout out Bastien De Jong and the star donators on Facebook. And let me just check my pardon me. I had a tuna and egg sandwich salad earlier. It's just made me so gassy. What my YouTube family saying? Big up the G's. I mean, there's a lot to read there, but I hope people are getting value from it. If you are getting value from it and you want to help the SUAT project grow, send me some supers on YouTube, send me some subs on Twitch, and send me some stars on Facebook. Moving on. I'm going to turn the vocoder off. And I'm going to look at the EQ. Oh, Mario, you are such a legend. Right. This is great. Okay. Clicking and pressing Command D to duplicate. Let's see if we can delete this one. No, that works nicely. Let's change it a little bit just so it's not the stock vocoder. Let's bring the range down. There we go. There we go. If we put the... There you go. Nice, starting to sound like a voice, my G's. I could be wrong, but... And let's put the EQ post vocoder. Right, that's getting somewhere. Sorry. Going over on this secondary desktop can be really actually hard to see sometimes. Shout out my 12 Twitch viewers as well. Big up yourselves. And anyone who's not yet subscribed to my Twitch, please do. I'm really working hard to kind of just stream content there and help it grow. And you guys will be a massive helping hand on that. So big up yourself. Right, let's listen to where we're at. And quite often what happens with me is I'll reference a track, and like this one, for example. And then by the time I've got to kind of like the intro section of the track, I'm kind of ready to sort of like take it on its own journey. Reference tracks are a great way of sort of like just starting somewhere, you know, going, okay, they've got one hat or they've got two hats here, and maybe that the clav, and then now I feel like it's at a point where I can start up sort of putting my own spin on it, and not necessarily just referencing, just copying how the track's arranged, basically. Shout out Sam Rawlins, by the way. Yes, guys, that's my Twitch on the Facebook community. Big up yourselves. Okay, it just needs a bigger. Pardon me. You're stuttering, boy. I'm lagging, is what I am doing. It needs like a bigger open hat, like a something just to sit underneath that light one that's going tick 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 right now. So I'm just going to record that in on solo. You guys can watch me as I do that. See, I did two pitches there. One might not be very good, so. Yeah, it's one of these ones. Let's choose one at random. No. This guy. Hey, it's you. Actually, no, this man. Command L to loop. Right click. Crop this sampler. Crop into del samplosa. Slide this down here. Like, I really like Xbox as well. I might just start streaming myself play Xbox. Like, that's what all my friends do. Squash it down and in. Squash it down and in. Okay. Let's get in somewhere. Let's create a second layer. And we'll call it like low hat. Low hat. Is that a hi-hat? Oh no, no, no. Arm the track and listen to it. Okay, get rid of that bit at the end. Now that can be played on the offbeat as well. And hopefully should start to sound a-okay. Yeah, appreciate that, Chris Lafferty. That's kind of why I didn't do it up until that's why I haven't done it. So I do appreciate that, and I'll continue to be doing just, even if it's crap, just something different. Do you know what I mean? Big up all the man active in the chat as well. Although, you know, there's not much to see or talk about. I really, nonetheless, appreciate you guys being here and sort of staying with me for the first one. I hope to increase the video production value, so the image looks better in here. I hope to increase my skills in doing stuff like this, and maybe I might make some actual like original tracks with like synthesizers and stream that. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm just gonna drop that down. Where's that other hi-hat, the ticky-ticky? It is a bit ticky-ticky, isn't it? Just bring that EQ down a bit. Right. Now I'm at a point where I'm ready to write a bass line. I know a lot of people don't do that, and they start kind of like throwing in loops now, but I feel like I've shown you guys kind of like how I've got to this stage with the drums. So what I might do is just, yo, big up from Jamaica, Peter. Well, I mean, unless you guys want me to stay on, I was just going to make the bass line and get the track to a point where it sounds decent. And then you could always come back to it, or I could come back to it in a different session and put actual pianos and melodics over the top. And you probably won't tell the difference. I'd love to see some more stuff done on the push. Okay, great. Well, we're on the melodics now, so I will do that. To be honest with you, the push is really great, but I'm just much quicker with a mouse, which I will kind of show you here. Yeah, big up all the guys moving over to the Twitch, and I really appreciate any newcomers who are watching this to just head over to Twitch and subscribe to me, because I'm really trying to grow that space. Okie dokie. Let's. I'm just completely waffling, and I really can't help it. I'm going to create a new audio track, pressing Command and T. I'm now going to create the bass frequency. Now, I tested this earlier, or yesterday. If you try and go too low, what happens is the harmonics aren't there, so the sound is never rich enough to make an actually good bass line. However, if you sing something kind of like mid-range, like ah, or ah, it's got a lot more frequencies in it, so you can pitch it down and then create a bass line out of it. So you might think, you know, but what I'm going to do is just record one note, okay? I'm going to make sure it's the same pitch. I'm going to make sure it's the root note, which is, so I'm going to make it a C. I'm going to make it a C, not a C sharp, which sounds like that. Ooh, ooh. Okay. Now, to make this is an example of a synthesizer, right? This is operator. So to make a sort of plucky bass line that I like, or at least, you know, a deep thudding bass line, you do it from a saw wave, right? Which sounds like this. I'll play it one lower. Let's record it. Oh, God, it's hurting. Let's try it. It's got to be that last one. I really felt my throat resonating there. Oh, I wasn't bloody recording. That last one will do. So take this last one. Again, Command L. The process is very much the same when kind of like recording audio. I know you're thinking, you've told us how to do that. I'm going to stop telling you now. Okay, my G's. So this is the sound we're working with. And if I zoom into it, you can see that it's got lots of up and downs. Whereas a sine wave is the most simple waveform. And it's made of basically a very smooth wave. No harsh edges. And what comes with that is a very different sound. So what I've got here is this really harmonically rich waveform. I'm going to find a point that's nice and even in that wave. So maybe this region here. Again, I'm going to highlight just this section and loop it. Right click, crop sample. So now I've got this thing here, and this is a great place to be in, because this is basically what looks very similar to what a synthesizer would produce. And there's just a couple of tips. Thanks, Roger Neal. I'll read that when I've got a spare 45. So this bass line again. What does it sound like? Wow. Sorry, geez. That's all we really need. I promise you. So there's loads of things we can do with this. But the first thing I'm going to maybe do is just get the pitch right. Yes, my G's. Please go sub. Please become a Patreon if you can spare the money, or if you want one-to-one tuition. Let's pitch it down 12. Okay, now I know what you're thinking. Oh, it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound... Do you know what I mean? But it will. Definitely will. What I've learned from this is you just really got to have patience in it, and just like don't give up before the sound sounds how you want it to. Oh, I've got such a sore throat, my G's. Bass. So now what I'm going to do is just take this audio track that I just, and it's a loop, basically what this audio track is, and I'm going to drop it into here. So that puts it into this kind of like synthesizer view. And that now means that I can play it on my keyboard as if it was a synthesizer. What I'm going to do straight away is turn the sustain right off. Okay, now we've got to deal with the pitch. So, shift, down arrow. Okay, now, again, it's got that buzziness to it, but my G's, I promise you, it's going to sound like it. I'm going to listen to my own track again, and just kind of decide what sort of bass sound or bass pattern I'm going for. I know that I kind of like a plucky, like a fingered bass. Something's going wrong there. Delete. Okay. Yeah. So we've got this envelope here. Just going to pull the decay down on it so it's a bit more like. I'm unbelievable. Now, let's get a tuner on this, because I don't actually know if this is, you know, in a specific key. Thankfully, it's a C sharp, which is what I intended to record it in, nearly. So, we don't want it varying like this, so we just want to find a section where it's even. Right, that's basically a C with a pitch envelope. Cool. There we go. So that last reading is reading about plus 20. So what I can do here on the D tune is bring it down 20. And it's still not done much. Let's reset that and bring this down an extra one. No. Oh, it's not warping it, is that why? No. There we go. There you go. You see how it's sitting there now? Great. Let's move this forwards a little bit. Great. That's a C. Okay, so that C is sitting on the C note of my keyboard. Now we can sort of work a pattern. And I'm going to move over to the push for this, because this is a great bit of kit, and I really, I do use it every session. And I'm just going to make sure you guys can see this. Maybe if I just enlarge it a tadpole. Oh, that's not preserved the aspect ratio, has it? There you go. So what I'm going to do over on this push is choose a scale. Now, I know that my kick drum is in a C sharp, so I'm going to choose a C sharp scale. It doesn't have to be a major scale or a scale that you've even heard of. I think it's best to keep it fun. What am I talking about? Anyway, C sharp or D flat, and I'm going to put it in a minor pentatonic scale. Pentatonic scales and blues scales have a tendency to sound funky and yeah, to the human ear. So put it in a pentatonic scale. I like to write my bass lines in that scale. It's working. Okay. Okay. So I just realized that I'm not going to be able to play anything in for you guys because there's a delay. So what I'm going to do is just show you how my thought process when actually writing notes in. I really prefer to play it, but there's a lag, so I can't. Straight away, what I'm going to go ahead and do is turn that to a 2-bar loop. I like my bass lines to go kind of like dum 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 dum, and like vary over 2 bars, not 1 bar. That's just because I like that kind of like disco inspired sound. Change the resolution to 16ths. I'm going to go down to the right octave, so it's probably around these parts. And to test it, we can turn these headphones on and just click. Yep, that's where I want to be. So the root note is a C sharp, in fact. So therefore, any notes that sit along this line are going to really gel with the kick. And as I get further from this line, more towards the middle, maybe around here, it's going to sound less like it meshes because it's moving further away from the root note. And if you want any music theory lessons, I'm not a classically trained pianist, but there are plenty on YouTube. I'd recommend Michael New. So I'm just going to play it and move these notes around, and then I'm going to talk you through what I've done. Okay, move it there. Let's get rid of these. Bloody hell was that? So, let's put a note here. what is that noise? It keeps happening, but it's this. Sorry, G's. Again, it's my first time. My first time doing this live. It's intense. There's a screen there, the screen there, screen there, light there. What do you think of the setup, by the way? Let's listen to it again. Right, to me that's sounding decent. So I'm going to go ahead, click the loop brace and duplicate the whole thing. And now I'm going to kind of create some sort of cooler response here. Notice how I've left a big gap here. And sort of there's no high notes in this space or this space. I think if you try and add too many notes at the beginning before you've created a cooler response with your bass line, then it just ruins it. What, for me, but in my personal opinion, is that the best tracks are the ones that utilize space in the music and utilize the silence, not the ones that are just like, and it's just like overwhelming and, you know, stroke inducing. So let's listen to it, and I'm going to move around some notes and create some sort of call and response here. Hopefully that's not lagging for anyone, because it's starting to lag for me. And this is kind of what my process when I'm writing a bass line, and I listen to it with the notes that I've plotted, and I'm humming along with the bass line I'm trying to make in my head. So generally I can always work out and go and say, okay, the next note needs to be above this one, not below this one, or whatever. I think it's a good way to do it, to sort of get musical with it. And let's try that note there. That works. And then take it off here. So listen for this now, my G's. It's going to be a call in this section and a response in this section. They're going to sound, the left part is going to sound different to the right part, and it's going to make it sound not repetitive. Okay, there's something we can change here. I think it's this note that I don't like, and I got grid vision, it's hard to see. Yeah, okay. So like this is sounding great. Let's put it down an octave and see how much it ruins it. No. And can I just make a very clear point at this stage? This has all been done with my voice from one person. We haven't taken a voice from a massive opera singer and a tiny little mouse and a cross-dresser and another girl somewhere. It's all just from me, and it's about pitching it up and down, finding the right frequencies, shaping the sound, and then I'm confident that you can make anything work. No, it's not going to win a Grammy with it, with the best production ever. No, it's not the best track I've ever made, but hopefully you get a lot from it in the sense that I've made anything sound like anything else. Yeah. And now I'm just going to process this bass line to finish. I'm going to slap an EQ on it straight away so we can see perhaps where there's frequencies missing, if there are any frequencies missing. Yeah, so there's loads of frequencies missing, in fact. So what I like to do is, if it's lacking a bass line, sort of the low end, which we can see in this region here, which it was, stick a warm-up lows on it. And you've got this frequency knob here, and you can really sort of like see the effect that the frequency knob has on the EQ. And I'm going to put it after so you can see it. So I'm going to solo it now. So this is with no saturation on it. It's actually got a bit of a click there that I don't like. Hear how it's got rid of that click at the start, just bringing the attack up. Whereas before it actually had a bit of a pop. And sometimes that pop can work because it helps you pick it out in the mix when you're listening to it. If a kick drum has a part of it that's like a top end and it sounds like a knock, then it's really easy to pick out, even though you can't hear the low frequencies. Does that make sense? Probably not. So that's what I've done here. Now I'm going to add the warm up the lows and play it again. So we got a bit of a peak around here at 100 hertz. Bring it down. I'm gonna put a soft clip on it. And I don't like kind of like the raspiness again of this, so using the equalizer on the simpler, I'm just going to roll off those top frequencies. Great. Now let's get our trusty drum bus on here. The drum bus is a great tool, especially when starting out. If like I've made a conscious effort to not use all of my plugins in this episode. Drum bus is Ableton has the most ridiculous stock plugins ever. They're all sick. They all have a great purpose, and drum bus is one of those things that can just turn a sound from empty, hollow sound to bloody hell. Is Eddie Hall throwing me off a roof right now, or is this sound chunky? Right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn the drum bus off, all the settings are off, and just listen to it with and without. So you feel it's giving it a bit more presence. Let's roll this boom back down to the area that we want it to be, which is a C sharpenosa, and put the boom up. Let's move this EQ after. You guys can visually see what it's doing. I find that's often the best way. It's great hearing it, but if you can combine what you're hearing with what you're seeing, then in the future, when you see something, you'll know what to look for. Or when you hear something, you'll know what you're supposed to be seeing. So yeah, it's always trust your ears, but also your eyes are one of your main senses. I'm chatting shit now. I'm not liking it there. I'll try pitching it up to the next C sharp, which is here. Don't know why I've cut the low frequencies off there. That's definitely having an effect. Okay. I'm gonna make a commitment and go for the top C sharp. Again, guys, this is it's all trial and error, and so like on a live stream, obviously I'm rushing through it, but you could spend as long as you wanted tweaking all of this stuff. Yeah. Okay, and as the final thing, what I'm gonna do is put a side chained compressor on it. I'm just gonna do this using the stock Ableton compressor because you guys all have access to that for free. I'd recommend getting a 90-day trial if you've got some spare time at the moment. Learn how to make music. It's fucking horrible, but at the same time, it's really fun, and you can spend hours doing something and feel gratified when you sort of overcome something or make something sound a certain way. Hear how it's ducking in volume now? That'll make room for the kick. So let's play the kick that I made with my voice with the bass line that I made with my voice. Okay, so the bass line sounds really dry compared to the kick. And when I say dry, it doesn't sound very lush. It doesn't sound very, full-bodied. It's not like a Malbec. It's more like a Cab Sav. Do you know what I mean? It's got that Sauvignon taste. It's like, oh no, this isn't full bodied at all. This is weakly bodied. And a great way to add lushness and full body to anything is good to see how you produce and what you like. Thanks, Phil Begnet. Yeah, guys, let me know if you'd the next session you'd like me to make beats, maybe either using the software entirely, or maybe using like a Burger King meal, or making beats with a Tesco meal deal, something like that. You know, I really truly believe that there's scope in a series. And let me know what you guys think. And anyone still watching, if you haven't dropped a comment, please drop me a comment. Please like and share. It helps people see it online. And I'll be here. Well, we haven't even started season 3 yet. This was just a bit of a test, but there's lots coming, family. So let's listen to this bass line. I'm just going to put a reverb on it. Turn the decay time down on the reverb so it's not so ringing out. Straight away it's giving it that lushness, and then I'm going to put a delay on in front of that reverb, and we can bring the filter right down here, maybe add some modulation to it. What modulation, because I know that there's hundreds of producers who are teaching this, who use words like modulation and expect everyone to know it and will never explain it. And that's the case with a lot of the music industry, right? People use words that mean the same thing as loads of other words, but just are really, really long and perhaps unnecessary. So all modulation, but they are necessary when talking to other producers, because it's that quick terminology. But what modulation means is basically you've got a sound, right? And you're making some element of the sound vary with time. So this could be an example of modulation, right? Me moving the dry wet up and down and up and down. And let's listen to the effect that that has on the sound. So that's an example of modulation, and it just basically means changing some part of the sound, or changing sound with respect to time to make it sound less boring. So let's put the dry work back up to where it was, move the filter down a little bit, and just listen, because I want to create a pump-in bass line. So we can change this. Can we change these to dotted? Let's put that on phase. We can change the mode. Oh no, not in this one, we can't. Right, to me, that's sounding like, if you hadn't watched this whole video, that sounds like a kick and bass drum. I mean, a kick drum and a bass line. Correct? Correct. And I'm going to just drag that sidechain compressor right to the end. So it goes through the delay, it goes through the reverb, and then it still gets cut off by that kick drum. Okay, my G's, and this is my outro. I'm gonna basically play the track now. I'm not gonna arrange it or do any more with it, because I feel like I've had a nice stint. But I'm just gonna add the elements to the track, and what you are about to hear has been done entirely with my own voice and processing. Take the kick out. So, hopefully none of you are watching there taking this too seriously. Just under 2 hours worth got us to that stage using the recording, the processing, and getting it to this stage. Now, guys, this is by no means a completely finished track, and hopefully you guys had some fun sort of seeing how I made it and sort of my thought process. I'm going to make another video following up sort of the melodic elements, maybe with my voice. And yeah, it was just a sort of test the water. Hopefully you guys got some value from it. And until my next walking out and about live stream, my name is SUAT. Yeah, I was just going to confirm that my name is SUAT. Yeah. And and I just hope you guys enjoy it, you know. Sorry, I'm just confused because I'm not seeing what I'm doing on screen right now, and it's kind of confusing. Let's listen to it once more. As always, my G's, my name is SUAT. Make sure